I've worked with a ton of relocation buyers and the same mistakes come up over and over again. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the most common and some of the most avoidable mistakes people make when moving to Red Deer. All right, let's get right into it. I don't want to see you guys make these mistakes, and it's going to make your process or the moving process going to be a little bit less stressful. So let's get into number one. A lot of people seem to base their search or their home search on a specific school. So I think this is a huge mistake. Now, I'm sure it's pretty similar throughout the entire country of Canada and from province to province, but just in case it isn't, let's break it down for the city of Red Deer. So each school has a specific catchment area. So if your neighborhood falls within the catchment area of that school, that is where your child is going to attend school. Now, you can apply to go to a school outside of your catchment area, but at the end of every single year, they're going to do a review and you could potentially lose your spot. Now, lots of people have reached out over the last couple of weeks asking me what are the quote unquote bad schools in Red Deer. And specifically, I get asked a lot about the schools that are in the downtown core. Now, downtown Red Deer can get a little bit of a bad reputation. This is where our homeless population is. So I get it. I see why people could think this, but this is absolutely false. So down there we have Central Middle School and a high school called Lindsay Thurber. These schools are absolutely fine. They're no different than any other school in Red Deer. So the reality is that all the schools in Red Deer are pretty good and they're all going to be extremely similar. Just because they are downtown doesn't automatically make them a bad school. So what I suggest is not really worrying about the school. Now I get it, if you're dead set on having to have your kid go to a certain school, then yes, you're gonna have to pick a neighborhood within that catchment area. But for 99% of the people moving here, don't worry about the school. You need to find a house that you love in an area that you wanna live in and that works for your family. From there, that's gonna determine where your child is going to go to school. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't research this stuff. I think it's super important to know things like commute times and, different things like that. A lot of the times people assume that because this school is the closest one to my neighborhood, this is where my child is going to attend school. Now, you can go online to the Red Deer Public School Division or the Catholic School Division, and it'll tell you exactly where your kid is going to go to school based on what neighborhood you live in. But just as an example, if you're living in the far southeast corner of the city like Vanier, you would think, okay, if my kid's in the middle school division, they're going to go to Eastview Middle School because it's the closest one. However, that's not the case. Your kid is going to go all the way across town into the West Park neighborhood and will attend the West Park Middle School. So I think it's really important to research these things for that reason. But again, don't base your search or base your home search on a specific school. All the schools are pretty good. There's no quote unquote bad schools in the city of Red Deer. So find a home and a neighborhood that you love and fits your family. And if you are getting any value of the video, please hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you would like any help making the move here, use this info popping up, give me a shout. I would love to hear from you. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, now let's move on to the next mistake that people make. And that's putting a limit on the age of your home search. So I think this is a huge mistake. Lots of times people, they say they want me to put a filter on their searches for, I don't want to see anything past 2005 or the year 2000. And you are going to miss out on some incredible homes if you do this. Some of the best neighborhoods in the city of Red Deer are the older, mature neighborhoods. So just a few examples, we have Deer Park and Rosedale up on the east side. These are super popular neighborhoods and great places to live. We have Bauer, which is an older neighborhood and one of the most walkable neighborhoods in the city. And hands down, one of the most popular and the most beautiful neighborhoods in the entire city is Sunnybrook. People love this area. You're close to the Waskesiu Trail system. You're right in the central core of the South End. It's a great location. So in these older neighborhoods, you get the big, beautiful mature trees. You get the bigger lots. You get access, to some of the most beautiful nature in the city. And these older neighborhoods, in my opinion, they have a lot more character than the newer neighborhoods. Now, what it really boils down to is condition. In some of these older neighborhoods, for example, Sunnybrook, which is built, primarily in the 60s and 70s, you can find some fully renovated, absolutely beautiful, extensively updated homes that are in better condition than a home that's 5 years old. They used better materials back then. The craftsmanship was better. So in my opinion, it's a big mistake to limit your search to a certain age. I think it's best to cast a really big, broad net, because in these older neighborhoods, you could find, gems that just work for you, and they're absolutely beautiful and incredible homes. Now, in talking about older homes, this leads me on to the next mistake that people make, and that's skimping on the home inspection. This is a huge mistake and you do not want to do this. I always cringe when I hear people say, oh, when we were at the viewing, it was clean, it showed well, I didn't notice anything wrong with it. I don't think we need a home inspection. Of course it did. That's what showings are for. Sellers make their house clean, they make it smell good, but do we know, is there a crack in the foundation? Is there mold in the crawl space? Does the furnace and hot water tank work? Do the appliances work? Is there a leak in the roof? These are all things that you are not going to see on your typical viewing, and these are what inspectors are for. So again, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. The price of a property inspection is $525 plus GST. Now, if nothing shows up, it can seem like it was a waste of money, but most of the time something does come up. It might be just something little where we have the seller repaired, or maybe it's something major where we negotiate some money off the price, or at the very least, it gives you an idea of upcoming costs that you should expect in the future and maybe you should be saving for. Now, this is even more important when it comes to acreages. And I've been working with these clients for the last couple months and I've been getting a ton of stories from these guys. So thank you so much, guys. But we just wrote on an acreage and it's a beautiful older acreage, an older home that's been nicely renovated. It's got tons of character. And of course, on an acreage, you're going to get a well and septic inspection. Now the well, everything was fine, but the septic inspection showed that the entire septic system is done. The tank needs to be replaced. The septic field needs to replace. And the quote to replace that was $41,000. The cost of a septic inspection is $400. Tell me that that is not worth it. Now, legitimately, the sellers had no idea that their septic system was in such disarray and needed all these repairs. They felt sick by it, but now the buyers either have the option to not buy the house or we negotiate the cost off of the purchase price to put in a brand new septic system. So inspections are super, super important. I would never advise clients not to get one. It's not the realtor's job to talk you into getting one. Sometimes people are just adamant that they won't get one, but please, in the grand scheme of things, it's only a few $100 and it can save you a gigantic headache and a ton of money. All right, now when people are moving somewhere, the first thing they do is they Google that city. Now, when you Google Red Deer, Alberta, you're probably going to see a lot of stuff come up about the crime in the city of Red Deer. This is a question I get on every single phone call, every single Zoom call. People have Googled the city of Red Deer and they ask me, like, how bad really is the crime right there? Is it as bad as it seems online? I mean, you're going to find articles like this one, for example, from 2023. It talks about Red Deer being the third most dangerous city in the entire country. And this can definitely be off-putting. It can be scary for people. I know if I was moving somewhere and I Googled this and I saw this, I would definitely think twice about moving here. But I really believe, and almost anyone you talk to will probably say the same thing, that the experience you have when you move here is not going to match up to these stats in these articles that you read online. They don't provide the full context, so the crime is very concentrated. It's usually within specific populations, like the criminal populations. It's in specific areas, and it's usually repeat offenders, so you got the same dumbasses causing all the trouble. And a majority of the crime, it's non-violent crime, so lots of fraud, lots of mischief, lots of theft under $5,000. And even when me personally, even when I'm in the worst neighborhoods, quote unquote, worst neighborhood in the city.
I don't believe that.
It's hearsay. I don't feel unsafe. Now, does that mean I'm gonna leave my wallet sitting out or my door unlocked in my vehicle? No, I'm not gonna be stupid about it. If you talk to most people in this city, they are going to tell you that they do not feel unsafe. Now, we do have our homeless population in the downtown core. Again, potentially more potential for crime, but really, as long as you're living in the right area and you're not looking for trouble, what you read online is not going to match up to the experience that you're going to have when you're actually living in Red Deer.
Today's lesson: don't believe everything you see on the internet.
All right, let's move on to mistake number 4, and that's writing off living in the north end of the city. Now, most people you talk to, they're probably going to tell you that the south end is more desirable to live than the north end of the city. So the south end, this is kind of where all the best shopping is. This is where the city has been growing over the last few decades. It's where all the new residential developments have taken place. The north end has not gotten a lot of love. And I think that the north end really gets its bad reputation, or its not so great reputation, from one neighborhood. And because of that one neighborhood, some of the adjacent neighborhoods that surround it they can get a little bit of a bad stigma or reputation with them as well. But the North End is still a great area of the city to live in. So there's a rec center up there called the Doss Center. It just got a $43 million renovation, so this is a great rec center. There's one of the most popular gyms on the north end of the city called Good Life Fitness. It's in Parkland Mall, which is a little bit slower of a mall. And there are absolutely some great neighborhoods to live on the north end of the city. For example, Kentwood, which is the farthest northern neighborhood in Red Deer. You can't go any farther north. In 2024, this neighborhood actually appreciated faster than any other neighborhood in the city. The median detached price went up over 20%. There's Johnstone, there's Oriole Park West. In Oriole Park West, you're going to find some of the biggest and most beautiful homes in the entire city. Do you think people would spend all this money to live in this area if it wasn't that great of an area? And we're going to see a lot of developments take place on the north end. So north of Kentwood, north of Johnstone, north of Highway 11A, they're going to start building the Haslet Lake development. This is the first residential development that's taking place on the north end in a really, really long time. And this whole north of 11A project, all that land between Black Falls and Red Deer has been annexed, and they are going to develop it over the next few decades. So you're going to see this north end of the city become more and more popular, and all these neighborhoods that surround all this development, even though they're already appreciating faster than anywhere in the city, you're going to probably see them appreciate even faster than they already are. So don't write the north end off. I'm not sure what it is about living in north parts of every city. It always seems like the north side always gets a bad rap. I had a client move here from Winnipeg, and he went into the north end of Red Deer, and he absolutely laughed. He said, in Winnipeg, you don't even go in the north end because you'll probably get shot. It's not like that here in Red Deer at all. We have one or two neighborhoods on the north side that, are a little bit more potentially sketchy, but a majority of the north end is great to live in. They're going to be great for young families, and you can probably get a little bit better of a deal on your home. All right, now let's move on to the next mistake, and that's not considering all the smaller towns that surround the city of Red Deer. So we have a handful of communities that are a super easy commute, and they are absolutely fantastic to live in. So the first one, it's about 13 kilometers out of the north end of Red Deer. We have the town of Black Falls. It's got about 12,000 people. This has been one of the fastest growing communities in central Alberta for a really long time. And it was one of the fastest growing communities in Canada from like 2011 to 2016. Now, this is really well known for having lots of young families. So if you have a young family, you will love living in Black Falls. It has world-class recreational facilities, and it is such an easy commute to Red Deer. So if you're working in downtown Red Deer, you could probably be from Black Falls to right downtown in the city in about 20 minutes. Just out to the west, we have one of the most popular lake towns in the entire province of Alberta called Sylvan Lake. So you're about 15 minutes straight west of Red Deer on Highway 11, which is a double-lane highway, which makes this a nice, easy, stress-free commute, especially in the wintertime. Now, Alberta in general isn't overly well known for its Great Lakes. A lot of the times, the lakes that we talk about as being the good lakes in Alberta, they are more of like a big slough. They're not the greatest. However, Sylvan Lake is a legit lake, so it's great for all of your water sports and activities, from boating to stand-up paddleboarding, tubing, wakeboarding, whatever that looks like, hanging out on the beach. It is a huge tourist attraction here in Alberta. Roughly 1 million people will visit the town of Sylvan throughout the summer months, and it's only got about 17,000 people. So definitely one to consider. Now, if we go a little bit farther north, about 25 minutes straight up on Highway 2, we get into the small city of Lacombe, which has about 16,000 people. Now, if you are looking for somewhere that is quiet, has lots of great walking trails and beautiful nature, and has a ton of character, Lacombe is definitely one that you should be thinking about. So downtown is super cool. It's got an award-winning historic downtown. It's got all these old Edwardian buildings, and I think it's got the second oldest Flatiron building in Canada. So really cool space down there, and I just love all the walking trails. So there's lots of bodies of water like Crana Lake, and they have all these great walking trails that surround them. And the price of housing is going to be quite a bit more affordable out in Lacombe compared to Red Deer and Sylvan Lake. And again, it's a straight shot on Highway 2, only about 25 minutes away. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I really appreciate a like and a subscribe. And if you would like any help making the move here, feel free to use this contact info popping up right now. Give me a shout. I would love the opportunity to earn your business. All right, I'll see you guys next week.